and all your escapades and your travels and your crazy stories. So it's always fun to hear you speak. Today, Matt's speech is called Passive Income Philosophy. And he's going to persuade us somehow. Something about passive income philosophy. Do you want to be wealthy? Do you want the ultimate freedom with your time? Here to explain more, please welcome Matt Fonda.
Do you have a job? Almost everyone in this room has a job. I have some bad news, unfortunately. If you have a job, you are a risk taker. It may not seem that way because when you think of a job, you think of security, you think of benefits, you think of income. But the fact is that at any time, you can be fired. You can lose that source of income. You can be laid off. I know this firsthand because I was laid off over a year ago. But there is a better way. Fellow Toastmasters and honored guests, most of the time we work for a set amount of time and we get a set amount of money. Today I'm going to show you how to work a set amount of time and keep making money and money and money and money and money. It's the idea of passive income. So to explain this, I'm going to start with just a big picture understanding of it. Passive income is when you put in work or effort or time and money, you create something valuable, and then you keep making money off of that same value that you created. It's reusable. So you don't have to keep going back to time, money, time, a little bit of money. You put in a little bit of time, a big amount of time, and then you create that value, and then you can keep making money from that value. So this is the concept. There was a young man who was going to go to college, and his father said, well, why don't you wait for a second? Just wait 1 year. Just give it 1 year. Start a business. See what you want to do with your life. Travel. So the student said, okay, maybe I'll just wait. I'll start a business. So he decides to start a business after months of thinking. He thinks, what is valuable to people? What can I keep reusing? Picture those Barnum and Bailey tents, you know, those circus tents that are really big with the stripes on the side? Picture that, but half size. He purchased one of those tents. And anytime there was a ceremony for a wedding, or a graduation, or a bat mitzvah, anything, he would rent this tent. And he'd make a few $100. And next time there was an event, he'd rent the tent again, and he'd make a few $100. And eventually, it just kept growing. It was reusable. And he ended up making a couple $100 a month because after a year, he could pay someone to go set up the tent. He could pay someone to book the events. Passive income, it comes in automatically. Now he put in the work for 1 year, and then it became that passive income. Put in that time investment, reusable resource, made money. Another good example is Paul's book. Paul, how many years did it take you to write that book?
8.
8 years. That is a big chunk of time. But now that Paul has that book, he can take that and put it in front of other people and say, this is going to help you, it's value. And they'll pay him a little bit of money for that book. And they'll tell somebody else, and they'll tell somebody else, and it's renewable. It keeps, the cycle keeps going. Another way to do this is with music. You write a hit pop song, one time. You think of all those one-hit wonders? Well, there's a reason why they're one-hit wonders. They don't need to play anymore. They wrote that one song, everybody buys it on iTunes for $1 a pop. The musician gets 70 cents per song. He sells it 1 million times, and he makes money. Keeps making money on it. Keeps making money, buys royalties. I've tried doing this myself. And unfortunately, it didn't work the first time. And unfortunately, it didn't work the second time, but I'm still in the midst of it. But as Paul knows, it's not an easy task. You have to put in the work up front. You have to start small, you have to experiment, and then you have to fail. And then you got to keep experimenting. And then you have to fail. Paul knows that you have to keep working at something like this. In total, over 6 months, I've made about $20 with my online business. It's a blog. Basically, I just write articles, attract people through web traffic, and they click on advertisements on the side. And I get a few cents every time they click on it. It's an idea of passive income. It's not really working the way I'd hoped, but it's another process. You just keep reiterating. So, if you want to keep working for a little bit of time, 8 hours a day, and make a little bit of money, you can keep doing that. There's nothing wrong with that. And eventually, if you save and invest, by the time you're 60, you can retire happy. And you can probably live a comfortable lifestyle. But I want to retire when I'm 40. So what I'm telling you is that think about something that you have that's extremely valuable. What can you do better than anybody else in this room? What is that one thing? Make that into something valuable that you can share with not only the people in this room, but thousands of people. If you had an audience of 200,000 people, of 1 million people, what would you give to those people? What would you create? What product would you make? What would you tell them? Take that idea and start making this system for passive income. Think about it, create the system, and then reap the rewards. It's not going to work the first time. It's not going to work the second time. It probably will not work the 10th time. But eventually, if you get a system working and you can provide value to many people, it will keep making you money. Keep making you money. So in conclusion, if you want to retire early, if you want to be wealthy, think about what you can do to make that value and make that passive income come into your life. It's not easy to think of it, but it's hard to keep at it. But I know everyone in here has something to give. I've seen it already. I'm a Toastmaster.
Thank you, Matt.